Right, well that was a little bit earlier on today, of course, the first race of the day, and it looked as though it was a win for Colin Turkington. But it didn't turn out that way. He was weighed, the car was weighed as normal, and it was discovered that car and driver were 2 kilos under the weight limit. Now it would appear that Colin has lost 2 kilos himself since yesterday morning. He was weighed Saturday morning. Today, when he was weighed, he was 2 kilos lighter. The car was obviously right on the weight limit, and that was enough to put them below the weight. And that means they've been disqualified from the victory in race 1. And he, Tim, is going to have to start from race 2 right at the back, but still with maximum ballast.
Yeah, it's desperately unlucky because he drove a perfect race, and in all honesty, 2 kilos wouldn't have made any difference to his performance. But obviously the rule is the rule. But it's even more bizarre, as you say, because he was weighed yesterday, and 2 kilos is 4.4 pounds. That's a lot of weight to lose overnight.
It is. Well, there's the championship standings now. As a result of that, he should have been a bit higher up. But you can see that Plato still has an advantage of 21 points over Giovanardi. Gordon Shedden is now third. That's the big change. He's gone ahead of his teammate, Matt Neal. And actually, as a result of that disqualification, otherwise he would still be fourth, but he's now moved up to third. Turkington in 5th place ahead of Tom Chilton. Very close in that battle there with Matt Jackson in 7th, and then Mike Jordan and Darren Turner. Spoke to Darren Turner. He actually had to run that whole first race without an operative clutch. It failed on him pretty much as he set off. The car almost bogged down, then he got going, but he couldn't use the clutch for the rest of the race. That's not such a big deal in a touring car, Tim, but he said it just made it a bit messy into some of the corners.
Yeah, I mean, once you're underway off the start line, you actually don't use the clutch unless it's wet, and then you use it on the downshifts. But in normal racing, you don't use the clutch. But it's nice to hover your left foot over it and just control any little lock-ups that you might have on the brakes, locking the engine up by using the clutch. And also it tends to make the gear change a bit more snatchy. So he did well to finish with that problem, and I'm sure it's been fixed by the SEAT team for this race.
Yes, it has, I'm sure. He said he got into a bit of trouble for overtaking everyone on the slow down lap, but it was partly because he had inoperative clutch. He just wanted to get back to the pits, and then sort of stalled his way back into his pit box. So there's Rick Kerry coming out, that's good to see, and Chris Stockton, 2 cars that were in trouble. In fact, Rick Kerry didn't make the start of the first race in the diesel-powered 1 Series BMW. Chris Stockton there had a little ding-dong with John George right on the opening lap. So there was some damage done there, and they've managed to get that car back out. That had an engine change last night as well, so it's good to see Chris Thompson out on track. Now then, let's just see if we can get a word with Gordon Shedden. We've got the radio on board with him. He's been in the commentary box to Gordon. Gordon, how does the car feel? I hope you've lost that vibration you had earlier.
Yeah, Ben, the car feels pretty good. Obviously starting from the front, really looking forward to it, so we get a good start and a clean race.
Great, we'll have a good one. And
Thank you.
Keep an eye on that from pole position. Of course, he thought he would be starting from second, but with Turkington's disqualification, he will now be starting from a pole position, and it is an opportunity for him, Tim. He's been going well recently. We talked about it earlier, and he can add another win to his tally here.
Yeah, he can. I mean, he's got the fast-starting Tom Onslow-Cole. Onslow-Cole actually beat Turkington away at the first race start, and was very strong for the opening laps, and then Shedden passed him later on. But the weights are slightly different now. Obviously, Shedden has the second maximum ballast, and Tom Onslow-Cole third. But it'll be an interesting scrap between them in the early laps.
It will, and we'll just have to see how it all works out. In terms of race victories this year for the different kinds of cars, SEAT have had 7 wins this year so far. Vauxhall have had 5 wins, although 5 wins, and of course Giovanardi still chasing down in the points, Jason Plato. Honda have now had 4 wins with that victory for Gordon Shedden, and there have been 3 wins for a BMW of one sort or another. Don't forget that you've got the 2 Team RAC cars, but you've also got the privateer car, very much privateer car of Matt Jackson, and he's looking fairly confident for this second race. He'll be starting on the second row of the grid. Well, it's time for us to join the grid. The cars are there. Let's get down to Warren, who's with poleman Gordon Shedden.
Thank you very much, Ben. Indeed, man of the moment here, Gordon Shedden. Door open for me, that's service. Gordon, well, it looks like Colin forgot his breakfast this morning and came in underweight, and now you're sat on the front of the grid.
Yeah, I mean, I do actually feel quite bad for Colin because it's obviously not his fault. It's just a very small mistake, and in all fairness, it probably wouldn't have affected the performance of his car. So obviously a little bit disappointed for him, but on the other hand, delighted for myself and everybody at Team Halfords. It's another win for me personally, and the 4th of the year for this brand new Honda Civic. So we're really looking forward to a good second race now.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Let's hope the comms works during the race and we can talk to him. So perhaps the penalty doesn't fit the crime for Colin Turkington, but Gordon Shedden's going to take the points any day of the week. Next man for us to talk to, it's Tom Chilton. Now, which side of the car do we reckon he's on? Nope, he's round here. Well hidden, but he could be on for his best result in a long time. Now then, Tom.
Not now. I'm bleeding brakes. I need to turn my...
Well, we would talk to him, but we can't. He's in the middle of talking to someone else. Come back down. Coming back down this way. We'll take a long stroll as everyone's getting absolutely sorted out and ready to go. Giovanardi here, sat behind Tom Chilton. He's got a lot to do today. Darren Turner's in front of Plato, but this man here, him and Matt Neal, they had a coming together very reminiscent of their last one at Snetterton when they nearly took each other out. It was worthy of a stunt riding event. Now let's see how Jason's feeling. Jason, how are you feeling?
Yeah, looking forward to this. We've got a bit of work to do from where we are on the grid. So, but of course, we've lost the 45 kilos of success ballast, so that should help a little bit. But we'll see.
And was the car feeling good the first time out? I'm sure it wasn't the result you'd have liked.
Well, no, it wasn't the result we would have liked. I mean, I got a great start, and then, as per usual, pretty poor driving from Matt Neal fired me off, but it damaged the car. So, the rear of the car wasn't very straight, or the rear suspension had been knocked out of alignment. So we reset that. I was pleased to fight back to where I've ended up, but I was ahead of Matt, Darren and Giovanardi come the first corner, and that's where I would have liked to have stayed really, but this is touring car racing.
Always unpredictable. Thank you very much, Jason. Well, I was going to ask him, we're going to head back down this way next, I was going to ask Jason what he thought of the blame between the incident with him and Matt Neal. He answered it for me. A bit of interesting driving from Matt Neal, I think, was his comment. So there's a rivalry that's definitely carrying on. Now, if we've got time, I don't see any boards coming out yet. We're not being kicked off the grid just yet. Let's get a word with Matt Jackson. He was 9th on the grid for the first race, and now look at him, sat here in 5th place. Matt, you okay for a quick word?
Yeah.
You've done a sterling job to get this far up after being 9th on the grid for the first race.
Yeah, we struggled in qualifying yesterday, but we made some big changes overnight. We had a good clean race through, and to get up to 5th as it was, but obviously the other RAC car was excluded for a technical infringement, so it's boosted us up the grid a little bit more. So hopefully we can have a good result in this one. The start looks good because we've got 2 BMs on the left-hand side and 2 front-wheel drive cars on the right. So providing Tom gets off the line good, then maybe it'll be a BM 1-2 into the first corner, and then hopefully we can pop Tom, but we'll see.
Let's hope so. Good luck. Well, let's hope that he's had his breakfast on time. Back over to Ben and Tim.
Thank you very much, Warren. So we're getting all ready for the second touring car race of the day here at Snetterton, and we'll be right back with all the coverage on Setanta Sports. Welcome back to Snetterton, and still nice and dry here, I'm glad to say. Fans enjoying themselves, and lots of people enjoying the bouncy castles. Actually, I think that's probably where John and Simon have gone during their little break. Whilst we were on the big wheel, we had a nice view.
I think that's them on the side, isn't it?
I think it's the bit that's moving around the most. I think that's where John is.
Yeah, and Simon's the one with the big ears.
There he is. Oh, right, yes. Well spotted. Okay, so all fun for the family here at Snetterton today, and now we're looking forward to the second touring car race of the day. Lining up on pole, it's Gordon Shedden, and let's now take a little look at how they do start this race. It is going to be Gordon Shedden who starts from pole position then, carrying 36 kilos of ballast this time. Tom Onslow-Cole, fast starter in the first race, he starts alongside. Then it's Tom Chilton and Matt Jackson on the second row, another Vauxhall versus BMW battle. Then we've got another Vauxhall on the third row, Fabrizio Giovanardi with Darren Turner alongside him. Behind those two, we've got Mike Jordan in the number 77 car and Jason Plato in the Seat. Then it's Tom Ferrier and Jason Hughes in the MG for Kart World Racing. Behind them we've got Erkut and Matt Allison. Matt was a little aggrieved at what he saw was some rough treatment from Plato in the first race. John George lines up just behind. New dampers on that car, he's much happier with it. Richard Marsh is next to him. Then we've got Martin Bell lining up in 15th place. He was part of that good battle at the end of the race. He's got Simon Blankley alongside too. Then Fiona Leggett, she's going to join in the fun and games from there. But watch out for Matt Neal, he starts from 18th place on the grid. 19th on the grid is Owen Murray in the Alpha. He could make progress from there. Dave Pinkney likewise. He had problems in that first race. And then behind them we've got Chris Stockton, who's back out in the BTCC Racing Lexus. And we've also got Rick Kerry at the back. And then right at the back, it's Colin Turkington, who will be trying to come through. The winner on the road of the first race of the day, then disqualified. He starts 23rd and last and carries maximum ballast. Well, you can see the sunshine glinting off the polished bodyworks of these British touring cars as they make their way down the Revit Straight. Great variety of cars that we have in the championship now. The mixture of works cars, independent cars, sort of factory-backed teams up against some top national teams, and the privateers as well, of course, that make up such an important part of the current British touring car grid. You can see the white and yellow diesel of Rick Kerry, the man from Ipswich, so it's very much his local racetrack. But that is the car we're going to be really trying to keep an eye on in the early stages, Tim, to see how much Colin Turkington, how much progress he can make from there.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to make a lot of progress, but it's doubly unfortunate that he has to race with the maximum ballast. It's part of the rules and regulations. If you're thrown out of the race for a technical infringement, you still have to carry any ballast that you might have earned from your finishing position. But he's nevertheless going to be certainly fired up inside the car, and I expect to see him make rapid progress.
Well, let's see what he can do. The rest of them now making their way through the last little sequence here before they come up onto the start-finish line. It's a pretty flat track. This is an ex-airfield circuit, but there's just a little downhill run into that final corner that can sometimes catch out the unwary.
Yeah, fortunately the start line is just on an ever such a slight incline, so the drivers can take their foot off the brake and just hold it slightly on the clutch if they need to. But the worst situation is when the start line is facing downhill and the car wants to roll forward.
So let's hope they all get off the line clean. It was a pretty good start first time of asking, and let's see what they can do this time. It's quite a narrow start-finish straight here at Snetterton, and we have seen incidents in the past where we've had accidents because of the narrowness of the track. Let's just see if they can keep it clean as we get ready now for this second race of the day. It's the Team Halfords car of Gordon Shedden who'll be starting from pole position, and the Team RAC machine of Tom Onslow Cole alongside him on the front row of the grid. We've got a green flag from the back of the grid. We're all set to go racing once again here at Snetterton. Keep an eye on those lights, and when they go out, we'll be underway. And it's a good start again from Tom Onslow Cole from the outside of the front row, just as he did in race one. And this time it's not against his teammate, it's against the Honda of Gordon Shedden, but they're evenly matched. Oh, we've got a shunt, we've got an accident on the grid. I said it was narrow. Fiona Leggett is involved. Look, peeled away like a tin opener, the side of the car. Meanwhile, Shedden did make the best start, and Jackson gets up into second place. Onslow Cole's back down to third, and Giovanardi's battling in there behind them with Chilton and Darren Turner.
Yeah, and don't forget they are racing back to the start-finish line. Poor Fiona Leggett always seems to be involved in those start line incidents. The drivers are being told by the teams that the safety car out, but they are still racing.
So they are racing hard all the way into the S's there, and there's some side-by-side action going on. One of the Vauxhalls ending up with the grass, hits Turner, and that was Tom Chilton who got into trouble into the S's, makes contact, but they both got away with it, I think, and now Chilton just manages turn in ahead of Darren Turner with Jason Plato right behind. Giovanardi in third place. He had a really good start there.
Yeah, it was an excellent start, and that could have been worse if they turned each other around in the S's, but fortunately it just managed to keep up. There's Turkington, who hasn't made much progress from the back of the grid, but at least he is still running.
He is. Mike Jordan's lost several places on that first lap, and safety car will pick them up as they come across the line here. And Giovanardi just moving out of the slipstream here. They realise they've all got to move out of the way. The medical car, which is on track and going very slowly as well, which seems a little bit... Oh, we've had an accident as a result. We have had an accident as a result of everyone stacking up there.
Well, they are racing to the line, so what do? You can't lift off, and unfortunately Marsh has gone off and hit Stockton's stationary car. It's a really difficult conundrum for the drivers. The drivers at the front will slow down, obviously, but the drivers at the back don't want to slow down too much or they get overtaken before the line.
Well, a very tricky situation, and that just shows up the danger of that situation when you've got cars already off beside the track. Look at the front suspension damage there to Chris Stockton's car. They are having no luck at all. And there's Richard Marsh's very damaged looking Alfa Romeo. That was pristine just before this race started, and now look at the poor thing limping its way back towards the pits. And well, we didn't have a huge amount of actual drama in race one. We've certainly got some now, Tim.
Yeah, and it probably isn't going to help the fact that he's pouring water or oil onto the track as well, just to that's almost certainly radiator fluid, but That's not going to help the cause. Right, just watching the background, if we can see, they come up, the front guys just slow down, over the line. The medical car is just there in case of a problem to leg it, so they've all got to slow right down. And you can hear people locking up, Pinkley locking up. Well, and Marsh has already gone off.
Yeah.
But there's a very narrow gap there between Stockton's car and the doctor's car. Maybe the doctor's car could have stopped in a better place.
Yeah, well, it's of course they're all a bit unsighted coming up there. I don't know whether we get another view here of what happened. You're trying to look back down the pack a little bit. Several cars moved out of line, and then bang! Off went Marsh. I think someone moved over on him. They suddenly saw where the doctor's car was, moved over, and of course Marsh was already there.
Yeah, but Marsh has obviously run into the back of someone as well to do that damage. And I mean, the only car I could see just in front of him was Matt Allison's Money Centre car, but hopefully he hasn't put him out as well. But we'll have to see. He's obviously hit somebody. We don't know what caused the accident to leg it on the first place for Stockton, do we?
No, that's right. And second time this year she's been involved in a start line accident. Let's get down and hear what Chris Stockton can tell us about the accident.
Thank you very much, guys. Chris, so I'll just get my breath back. I've had to run from the other side of the pit lane. But my morning's not been as exciting as yours. What on earth happened there? We can see your car, it's in a sorry state.
Well, I had a good start, was blasting down the outside. Absolutely no, there was a clear road in front of me, there was no problem. I was going quicker than a lot of the cars around me. And then all of a sudden I got clacked from the rear right-hand side by somebody, which turned the car right-handed across everybody else into the armor, and then I just saw the road come over the top of me. Somebody's obviously just rubbed my rear corner and turned it round. Until I see the replay, I wouldn't really know, but I would say it's just unlucky.
Well, you're taking it very, very well as we see your car there. Do you think there's any chance at all we'll see you out for the next race?
Probably not, I doubt it, but we were quite looking forward to reshelling it at the end of the season. I think it might need a new-shaped Lexus body shell this weekend.
Thanks very much, Chris. That's a very philosophical approach from him. Back up to Ben and Tim.
I tell you what, I'm so impressed by his resilience, because they have just had no luck, driver and team. But Tim, we just saw that replay of the accident, and Fiona, that was actually a big accident, wasn't it?
It was a huge accident. She must have caught the wheel or something, because she flew up in the air as if she was auditioning for the Red Arrows. Watch on the right-hand side coming into the screen. Mike Jordan's slow away, but the accident's already taken place. Fiona over the wheel and up in the air, and that could have been so much worse had the car actually rolled. But a lot of damage to the car, I'm sure. And
this was Giovanardi. Now he had a very good start, in fact.
This is in front of the accident, obviously. This is Giovanardi going across side by side with Chilton. Up in front, you've got Jackson trying to nose down the inside of Onslow Cole, which he manages to do, going into Sear, the next corner. Shedden already has got away. And nice block pass. Onslow Cole just locks up a little bit on the unweighted wheel. And Giovanardi with a great run onto the straight. Really good run, goes down the outside, and we've seen him pull this manoeuvre off already round the outside into the S's, but it's very brave to do it on the first lap when that right rear tyre is quite cold, but he does it. You can't see it, but obviously he's got Onslow Cole on his left, and he's just squeezed across in front of him.
Yeah, as you say, that was pretty impressive, and he caught right up to the back of Jackson too. That was a good opening lap, good stint from Giovanardi. That was the rest of them as they went into the corner. This was the contact between Chilton and Turner, wasn't it? They did well to get away with that.
Yeah, he did, but it lost Turner a huge amount of momentum coming out of the corner, and Chilton was able to drive around the outside of him before the bomb hole.
On board Jackson, now he did make a good start here, very good start. Both front row men got away pretty well. Jackson then slotted himself up into third, but now of course he moved to the inside. Interesting this, follows Shedden rather than Onslow Cole, and just gets the car in there. That was critical.
Yeah, it was good. He managed between the two apexes to get his car alongside Onslow Cole, so he couldn't turn in and take that second apex, and he was going to have that second place immediately from that point.
Yeah, and he sort of threw the car into Sear, didn't he, just to make sure there was no way Onslow Cole was coming back.
Yeah, he didn't want to be half alongside, he wanted to be all the way alongside, so if there was any contact, the other BMW would bounce off him.
Yeah, that was good strategy, and look how quick Jackson was then down the straight, fast down the straight, but then Shedden had the best line, of course, into the S's, so Shedden was able to protect, and now we'll stay with him as he carries on around the second half of the lap. Now, by this time, they were being told on the radio that the safety car would be picking them up, because the accident on the start line had already happened.
Yeah, there was a new system in place. It came in at the last race, in fact, where the clerk of the course, Bob Kettleborough, has a radio link to all the team managers simultaneously. So any information like cars blocked, safety car, everything else can be immediately notified to all the teams, rather than them having to wait and see it on the screen.
Now
so
he's flat out until there,
yeah.
Then he backs off, look, and then he sees...
Now look where that doctor's car is parked. If you had a car in front of you, you wouldn't even be able to see it.
As you said earlier, it's slightly uphill there too, isn't it? So, you know, if you have a car just a few lengths in front of you, you can't actually see past it.
And the drivers are sitting very low in the car. So, I mean, I appreciate, obviously, the doctor's car was there for medical reasons, and obviously we hope that Fiona's perfectly okay, but it can cause another problem. And I'm sure Porsche would have been a bit upset if their Cayenne Turbo had been assaulted by a touring car.
Absolutely. It is a tough one. Lights are out on the safety car, by the way, but it is a tough one, that, because they are racing for position until they get to the line and are picked up by the safety car. The problem was the incident had happened at the line, so that made it hard.
One other point, from the in-car Matt Jackson's car, did you see how fast his car was on the Revit straight? Don't forget, Shedden is carrying 36 kilos of weight, and clearly Matt Jackson, with a fast engine and only 9 kilos on, he's going to be quick down the straights, which is going to mean he's always going to be putting Shedden under pressure. That could make for a great race.
Yeah, you're riding on board with Jackson. That's the one you're talking about. Looked fast on this section, so when we get back to racing speed again next time around, it could be very interesting to see if he can challenge Gordon Shedden down in towards the S's. Let's see if we can get a very... we're just wondering if we're going to find out a bit more about that incident. Yeah, we can just see Fiona walking back, maybe a little bit shaken after that. That was a big accident, and she had a big accident on the start line at Brands the start of this year too. It's been a bit unfortunate for her, and we didn't quite see how it all started, but it isn't untypical, I have to say, here at the Snetterton circuit. So safety car bringing them up around now the last part of the lap, and now we're going to build up towards the restart of this race. It's going to be Gordon Shedden from Matt Jackson. Giovanardi, after that very good getaway, he'll be lying in third place. Tom Onslow-Cole, bit disappointed. He was the one who I think felt was going to be able to do something. Of those that started a long way down, Matt Neal is in 11th place, having started 18th. That was very good. Turkington hasn't gained so much. He's up into 18th position, having started from the very back. So keep an eye on those two cars particularly. You can see Matt Neal's car in the middle of the pack, so he really has got a chance of scoring points. His next target is Erkut Kazilimak in the Vauxhall, just ahead, the white car there, and then Turkington himself more to do. Ready for the restart then. And Gordon Shedden has slowed the pace down as he prepares to get on the gas once again. The restart in the second race here at Snetterton, and it's Gordon Shedden who controls it, Matt Jackson who follows him, and then the Vauxhall of Fabrizio Giovanardi turning in towards riches. Tom Onslow-Cole under pressure from Tom Jilt. Matt Neal gains another position, and Matt Allison tries to follow him through as well. Erkut loses it.
Yeah, I don't think there was any contact there. I think Erkut just found himself slightly on the dirtier side of the track. Oh, we got Matt Jackson side by side on the Revit straight at 130 miles an hour.
And now he's trying to cut it back across in front of Giovanardi, and we're going to have three abreast virtually as they head down towards the S's. Not quite. Gordon Shedden and Giovanardi's through into second as a result of that, and he's going to try and go around the outside into the S's, into the second part. Contact surely is made. Oh, they both made it round. That was fabulous racing from both of them, and it's hard, aggressive stuff from Giovanardi. He is so determined to try and gain some points on Jason Plato.
Well, we're not finished yet. Matt Jackson up the inside into corner, the fastest corner on the track, but he can't pull off. Giovanardi really pushing his way through, and Shedden was brave to cut his nose off in the second part of that chicane and not get spun round.
And there's fighting going on behind them too. Tom Onslow-Cole looked to be in the middle of a group as well, and he may have lost out a little bit. Chilton, yeah, Tom Onslow-Cole's lost several places. Chilton's now up into fourth place. Then the two Seats of Turner and Plato. Onslow-Cole's got down to 7th position. Matt Neal is up into 9th place. Turkington's gained a couple. He's now in 15th position. There he is. You can just see him in the background. And it's still the battle for the lead. Shedden protects his position. Giovanardi's going to have a great run here. Out of Sear Corner, onto the long straight, the Revit straight. And now it's a sheer horsepower battle.
Well, it's horsepower and it's weight. This is what I was saying. Shedden's carrying the weight. Giovanardi's light. He has a fast car. And look at that. He's driven all the way past him. This is always a feature of the second race where the first race winners are all carrying ballast.
So Giovanardi, the Italian, has made the move. He's got into the lead with the Vauxhall. They bounce over the curbs through the S's. Oh, there's a little touch between Jackson and Shedden. And Shedden's got a pass by Jackson. Jackson comes through on the inside, and Chilton's going to try and do the same. And now Turner's getting involved. Not free abreast, surely, round Coram. Darren Turner's now let Jason Plato get him a little bit of edge. And here they go. Chilton still hasn't finished this move. Shetton's trying to fend him off. Oh, well done. How they all managed to keep control, I'm not too sure, and Shetton stays ahead of Chilton.
Yeah, well, Jackson obviously a bit wound up. He's got some damage on there, and that won't help at all, but no signs of any leakage. But of course, on the first lap, he was on the... Here we are. This is, I think, this could be... It's into Sear on the very first lap. Jackson's round the outside. They're now coming back onto the straight. There's no room for him to get back onto the track. And Shetton just keeps him out wide, and that's the reason his blood's boiling and he's on the rev limiter.
Now this was the move when Giovanardi tried the move around the outside. Then there was a little bit of contact here through the second part of the S's, held well by Shetton.
Yeah, Shetton had to turn into the corner, but Gio could have fired him off and didn't. He just held the little slide, but now he's actually through. Jackson's got a lot of damage on his car.
Look at Matt Neal, he's gained a lot of places. I think he's up to 7th place now. So Matt Neal started down in 18th position. He's already up to 7th place on this lap. Giovanardi continues to lead the race for Vauxhall. Jackson up there is second, but look at Matt Jackson under pressure here from Gordon Shetton. This is for second position. Is Shetton going to have a look down the inside? Yes, he is having a look. Can they both get through here? That's the question. Yes, Shetton makes the move. He retakes second. Jackson's in third, but he's under threat from Tom Chilton.
Yes, it's now not Shetton that's causing the mobile chicane. It's now Jackson. His car clearly damaged, and he was faster than Shetton to start with, but with that damage, he can't maintain the pace, and he's going to fall back. But all this has let Giovanardi really shoot away in the lead. He's got 2.5 seconds nearly, as Chilton's now looking to push down Jackson another place.
Yeah, he's up the inside into Sear, and I think he may have done it, but Chilton's got Plato right behind. Now, the thing is, Chilton's got to play the game for Vauxhall. If he's passed by the Seat of Plato, then, of course, Giovanardi's lead is under more threat from Plato, so Chilton will be desperate to try and keep those Seats behind him. Giovanardi leads, Shetton in second, but what's going to happen here in the battle for third place? Oh, he's pitched around! Plato and Chilton make contact. Chilton spins out, and Plato continues across the grass and rejoins.
Well, that was clearly a case of 3 into 1 just doesn't go. And what you'll see is that Chilton had to turn into the corner. Plato couldn't turn in because he had Jackson on his left-hand side, and inevitably there was a little bit of contact.
Well, this is real touring car racing. Here's another view of what happened there. Down into
this was on board. Yeah, that was on board with Plato. Chilton got turned round when Plato's got in. Plato's taking part in the Lawnmower Grand Prix. Across he goes and rejoins just before the bomb hole.
Now Turner has got himself into third place. He's got past Matt Jackson, and Jackson's fighting back, but the Seat there of Darren Turner, the yellow and silver car, up into third place now, chasing after Gordon Shetton and our race leader Fabrizio Giovanardi. Meanwhile, down the inside, Tom Ferrier making a little move down the inside of Jason Hughes. Owen Murray trying to join in. This is all inside the top 10. They're all just at the bottom of the top 10 there, and they're all fighting now for what is 8th place, and I think Owen Murray might have taken that.
Yeah, Owen Murray going very well. He's very quick when that car's running quickly.
Yeah.
The Quest Racing Alfa Romeo, but sadly lack of funds. I mean, it's difficult to keep it in tip-top condition, but he's very fast when he's in the car. I'd love to see him in a more competitive car, but they're all fighting for positions inside the top 10, mindful that 6 to 10 cars will get reversed for the final. And Jackson again struggling big time with that car.
Yeah, I just saw that, and I think Matt Neal might have been able to take advantage. He was able to. Matt Neal's got past Jackson, and now Plato's trying to do the same. He's just got past Onslow Cole. So Matt Neal has got himself into 4th place. He started 18th. This is a meteoric drive from the double British Touring Car champion, Matt Neal, and he's got himself into 4th position now. And as they cross the line, it's Giovanardi with a 2.7 second lead over Gordon Shetton. Turner in 3rd, Matt Neal now in 4th, Matt Jackson in the white and black BMW in 5th place, Plato in 6th, and this is how it happened. This is how Jackson was passed.
Yeah, Jackson had that bobble in the bomb hole, didn't he? That he turned in, the car snapped on him a little bit, put him out wide, and Neal carried the speed through and was able to get on the inside before Coram.
And Plato, in the meantime, past Onslow Cole, just dived up the inside to take the place. So Giovanardi has got a very comfortable advantage here. He's also got the fastest lap in the race, so dominating things currently. But it's this next group that's one to watch. Then Owen Murray in that Quest Racing Alpha, as you mentioned. As you say, the car, when the car holds together, he drives it very, very quickly indeed. And he's got Tom Chilton behind him. Let's just see what happened. This was that battle for 8th. Murray got a good move up the inside here. Ferrier saw him coming, gave him space, and there wasn't much he could do.
No, Ferrier gave him a bit too much space, really. Drove through the puddle and across the grass. But Giovanardi did his fastest lap on the last lap, so no, his tyre's not going off at the moment, and he's still lapping very quickly.
Colin Turkington, meanwhile, is in 12th place. He's got a little bit stuck down there, but he's still lapping very quickly. So Turkington started at the back, now up into, in fact, 11th as he goes across the line now. Turkington up to 11th place. Meanwhile, riding on board Jason Plato here, following Matt Jackson as we come up onto the long straight, just going through this critical right-hander. But as we've seen, that BMW's fast in a straight line. I can't see that Plato's going to really close this gap on this section of the circuit. He needs the more twisty parts to take advantage of the Seat's handling.
Yeah, I think with the damage on the car, it's around the quick corners, the bomb hole and corner, that Matt Jackson is struggling with the car. So into Russell after those two corners is always going to be the best place for him to pass.
Yeah, this section coming up now is what you're saying. Is loss of downforce basically through these fast corners.
Just the car he gets through there fairly good, but definitely Plato closes up, and then through here he's closing up, closing all the time. And Matt is, look at the understeer, the car just running out wide, and Jason's taken sort of 10 metres out of him.
Yeah, that's where he's really struggling. You're right, you can see those front wheels working very hard to get him around that Coram turn. Darren Turner in the first of the Seats is still holding third place, but Plato on the attack here. Plato determined to gain a few more points here if possible, and he's going to put Matt Jackson under some increasing pressure behind them. You've got Tom Onslow-Cole and Owen Murray, Tom Chilton in 9th place, Turkington up to 10th now. So Turkington's got himself up into the points, but how much closer can he get to that next group? Plato still on the attack here. The championship leader, Jason Plato, just putting the rookie who's had a race win already this year under a little bit more pressure coming down the Revit straight, building up over 140 miles an hour down here before they get on the brakes into the S's, and they're almost braking in the corner. They brake so late here.
Well, Jason's a very intelligent driver. He will have seen on the last lap how much he pulled in through on the bomb hole and Coram, and he's already setting himself up. Jackson's put a wheel on the dirt. Is Jason inside? Yes, he is.
Plato takes advantage, little mistake from Jackson, and the Seat nips through on the inside. He doesn't need a second invitation. Plato is up into 5th position now, and Jackson just couldn't hold it tight enough on the exit of the corner.
Yeah, it's definitely struggling. I think the tracking has been knocked out on the front of that BMW, and it's a real handful to drive. I think if Plato hadn't got him there, thanks to the mistake, he would have got him that lap into Russell after those two quick corners anyway. But Neil, look at Neil. He's been the fastest car on the last 2 laps. He's down right behind Darren Turner, and with the fastest lap on that last lap.
So Matt Neal definitely the one to watch. He and Plato had contact in the last race, and look, they're going to be together again possibly if Plato can close that gap, and Darren Turner will fight his position very hard. So Matt Neal with a fast car, but can he find a way past the Seat there of Darren Turner? And then Jason Plato beginning to appear in his mirrors. There's the other Team Halfords car of Gordon Shedden, but it's the second of those two cars we're watching as Matt Neal has a little think about it. Oh, and off's gone Aircut again. Had a spin earlier on, and now he's way off in the field.
Well, he's got some English corn on the cob there. He can add that to his Turkish kebab.
Slightly strange combination, but nonetheless, that's Aircut enjoying himself and getting a bit too carried away. Let's see what happened. He was in the dice with Martin Bell and Simon Blankley. Oh, there was a touch.
Oh, it's that classic front-wheel drive turnaround. He went inside and then moved across fractionally on the BMW, and the light weight on the rear of the car just turned him around.
Safety car is standing by in case, but hopefully we'll be able to get away with it. First two come through, still Giovanardi leads from Shedden in second, Turner in third. Matt Neal the one who's pressurising. I wonder if there are any yellows up here. No, I think the car's already gone somewhere else. After that, they can overtake at that area if they want to. And Matt Neal, having made a lot of places in the early stages of this race, now, of course, he's up against more evenly matched cars, and I think we may well see the safety car coming out. Yes, it is coming out, so Giovanardi's lead is going to evaporate.
I think this is an Alan Gow safety car, isn't it? Because there's no question that Aircut's car is way off the racing line, and it's not going to be moved very easily anyway. So I would have thought this is, I mean, he's not happy. That's Ian Harrison on the pit wall there, very unhappy. He's losing the lead, but Giovanardi will keep his cool. He needs to keep his cool, but this is what you'd call a strategic safety car.
Well, last lap around, Giovanardi did a 1:12.9. That's one of the faster laps currently being done. There's Erkut with the marshals. Obviously, he's not going to be able to get the car going straight away, and that's why they've decided to bring the safety car on circuit. So Giovanardi leads across the line, but now he has to slow the pace down. Now, I wonder if we're going to have a chance to have a chat to Gordon Shedden. Let's see if we can talk to Gordon, because obviously he's been having a pretty exciting race so far. This is Ben in the commentary box. Gordon, you had a hard fight on your hands there in the early laps. You seem to be in a pretty solid second, and now you've got perhaps a second chance here with the safety car.
Yeah, you know, Fabrizio and I are lapping at about the same pace, but he made a bit of a break when I had to get past Jackson. So, yeah, it closes it all up. It'll be an interesting last 6 laps.
That was an exciting start originally you had when we first got off the line. You got off the line very well, but it was quite a battle you had with both the BMWs.
Yeah, you know, they get off the line so quickly, it's unbelievable. And, you know, a front-wheel drive car, you've just got to try and do everything you can to keep them behind in the early stages. But, yeah, we're okay, we're in a good position.
Okay, well done, Gordon. We'll let you concentrate on what's happening next. And we can just see why the safety car is on circuit. This was the reason, and this was the battle between Martin Bell and Erkut.
Yeah, Erkut cuts to the inside, going around Riches, and he gets cleanly inside, then moves slightly to the left, which he doesn't need to do, actually. He just needs to hold his line, and he would have blocked past, but Erkut was probably thinking he was further past Martin Bell than he was, and just trying to get past.
And you said, oh, I see, he's been standing at the sidelines, and that was the reaction. What's that all about, he says. What's that all about? And is it, well, you reckon that he moved over himself?
Well, I think perhaps both the cars moved slightly together, but I mean, certainly when you're on the inside there, the last thing you want to do in a front-wheel drive car is make any jink to the left or movement to the left. You just need to hold your line into Sear, and the car on your outside can't come back at you.
Well, another lesson learned by the Turkish racer, who's into his second season, although it's his first full season in British touring cars, and it is a very different level, of course, to anything he's raced in the past. It's a shame, because he's still looking for his first points in the championship, and he was part of a group that was a little bit outside the top 10, but not far away. So Giovanardi leads the round. We're just looking back at some of the action from earlier on. This was the Plato-Chilton incident. How did you see that again, Tim?
Well, I saw it that Plato had to turn into the corner, and he wouldn't have known necessarily that Chilton also had Jackson on his other side. Chilton actually couldn't really turn into the corner because he had Jackson there, and so it just spun him around. It was no one's fault. It was just 3 into 1 doesn't go. But interestingly, now Giovanardi stands to potentially win the same number of races as Plato this year. Plato's got 6 wins, Giovanardi's currently got 5, so this would tie them on race wins if he can pull this off in the remaining laps.
Yeah, and he's leading the race, whereas Plato's down in 5th position at the moment, but of course this will allow Plato to attack Matt Neal ahead of him, and Darren Turner, his teammate, Plato's teammate, is only just ahead too. So the Seats again may try and work together a bit here. If they're clever, they could get something out of this and not allow Giovanardi to score that many points in comparison to Plato. But it's going to be a difficult one to manage once they're up to racing speed again. Remember that Jackson's still in there too, running in 6th place. Onslow Cole, who's been muscled out a bit in this race, I have to say, he's down to 7th. Turkington will like this fact that they've had a safety car, because of course he came from the back. You just see the second Team RAC car. That's helped him a little bit.
I'm hearing on the radio, and I think it's Gordon Shedden's radio, that he can't shift up gears and he's going to come in the pits. So Shedden's got a gearbox problem, he can't change up the gears. The team are telling him there's nothing they can do about it. He's not sure whether to come in or not. He's come in. Shedden can't change gear.
Well heard on our onboard radio there, Tim. Gordon Shedden from 2nd place, would you believe it? What a disaster for Gordon Shedden. He was looking all set for another podium finish, but it's a gear change problem, and they're going to have a quick look. I mean, he may be able to get sent back out with the safety car there.
It goes down the gears, but not up.
It goes down the gears, but it won't go up. So there's something wrong with the mechanism, or something's overheated inside the box and got to a point where it just won't shift anymore. But he is absolutely devastated. He's driven a great race, and to have to give it up under the safety car, really, really bad. But of course, it changes the complexion of it. Turner comes into 2nd, with Neal 3rd and Plato 4th. So, I mean, Plato's Neal I mean, is Turner going to hold Neil up, give Plato a chance? But Plato's going to be very wary about anything he does on the back of Neil's car.
It's very interesting, but you have to say the cards all falling in Seat's favour at the moment. They've got that gain of place each for both Turner and for Plato, and what a boost that is. And Vauxhall must be thinking, well, what do we have to do? We've got our car leading, but those Seats, they keep moving up the order, keep picking up places for all sorts of reasons. Tom Chilton is down in 8th place. There's not a lot he can really do to help his teammate Fabrizio Giovanardi, who leads the race. And now, of course, Darren Turner in 2nd. Well, he will throw everything at trying to get past Giovanardi. There's no doubt. Turner's got nothing to lose here. He's just going for race wins, and he's trying to stop Giovanardi scoring points over his teammate.
Yeah, and Turkington is now up into 9th, so a possibility if he can pick up a couple more places of maybe being on the front or near the front for the 3rd race and getting that win restored that he didn't get in the 1st race.
This is going to be fascinating restart here. Watch that 2nd place car, the yellow and silver car of Darren Turner. He is going to throw everything here at trying to get past Giovanardi. Safety car heads in.
Now, I bet Giovanardi goes straight away. He won't try and block everyone up. He'll go straight away, and he has done. He wants the biggest possible gaps, but Turner's done a good restart and gone with him.
He has, but that Vauxhall engine's very strong, we know that. So Giovanardi's banking on the strength of the Vauxhall engine to drag him up to riches faster than anyone else, and it has done just about enough. But as you say, Turner's very, very close. This is where you might see a little bit of a move from Turner. He's not quite close enough, but he's got to watch his own mirrors because Matt Neal's right there. Then Jason Plato, then it's Matt Jackson and Tom Onslow Cole. Colin Turkington will be trying to work his way up a bit further from 9th. Giovanardi covering the inside a little bit here. Turner's too far back. Look at the strength of that Vauxhall engine again, down the straight, just where Giovanardi needs it. And now it's Matt Neal going on the attack for 2nd place.
Yeah, great action pictures here from the back of Giovanardi's car as they fly across that curb. 2nd gear, 3rd gear, early shift to 4th, through the bomb hole, virtually flat. Then up to Coram, 5th gear, 115 miles an hour on the apex.
Very good restart lap this from Giovanardi. Tyre temperatures dropped away a little bit, but he's absolutely committed. And now look at this, Turner having to defend his line into Russell to prevent Matt Neal having a little look at him. But right behind Matt Neal, it's his big friend, Jason Plato.
They're certainly not friends, are they? They put on a bit of banter, but they're not better friends. And Plato's just holding a watching brick. That looks like Chilton. Chilton's got damage, or is that engine smoke or is it tyre smoke? We need to know whether, because if it's engine smoke, there's going to be some oil down, but it looks mostly like tyre smoke.
Yeah, it looks as though it's that right rear perhaps that's some bodywork's being pushed onto it, and that's what's causing him problems. Behind him is Turkington, who will try and take advantage of that, of course, and put himself into a possible top starting position with the reverse grid, but he really needs to move up a couple of places to guarantee that. Giovanardi still with the control in this race, and as they come around this time, they've got a lap and a half from this section of the circuit still to do. It's Turner, Neal, and then Jason Plato getting very, very close on the exit of the S's there. Jackson has just dropped away a length or two behind them. He's being chased by Onslow Cole. Then Owen Murray still going extremely well in the Alfa Romeo. Chilton 8th, Turkington 9th, and Matt Allison rounding out the top 10.
Yes, and well, Plato's still holding that watching brief, and we're riding on board with Plato. That's the back of Matt Neal's car, accelerating out of Russell Corner, all the way up to 6th gear across the start-finish line.
And here we go then onto the final lap, and Giovanardi doing enough from that restart to control it, but Matt Neal again having a little look at getting past Darren Turner. Matt Neal started 18th in this race, he's now in 3rd, and he wants to take 2nd if at all possible. Jason Plato right behind him, then the 2 BMWs of Matt Jackson and Tom Onslow Cole running in 5th and 6th, Owen Murray 7th, Tom Chilton, Colin Turkington, those two cars virtually together as they went over the line, and then behind them it's Matt Allison and Jason Hughes, who's just outside the top 10. Don't think there's going to be any problems here for Giovanardi. It's the battle for 2nd, and here comes Matt Neal. Matt Neal goes for it deep on the brakes. Oh, and Turner lets Plato through. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, he was letting Plato through. He's got to give him the points, and then giving him the points, he's also got to give Neal the points. But Neal isn't in the championship battle, so it's better to let them both through.
Well, they have to play that game, and they've got to think about these things, so fair enough. Matt Neal's still going to try and protect his position from Plato. I can't see Plato taking a big risk. This has been a great result for Plato at the end of the day, despite his big rival Giovanardi winning. Plato's only going to lose a few points to him because he's going to finish in third. Giovanardi takes the second race win of the day for Vauxhall. Second goes to the Team Alpha's car and Matt Neal, and third to Jason Plato for Seat.
Fantastic drive by Matt Neal to come all the way from the back, but take nothing away from Giovanardi. He was very aggressive in those first few laps. He scores his 6th win of the year and just pulls a few points back on Plato.
A masterly performance there from Fabrizio Giovanardi. It's a joy to watch. That restart was just a masterclass in easing away from the others. But great racing going on behind. Matt Neal and Jason Plato complete the podium. Turner doing the team duty there. It's harsh, but Seat are going for all 3 championships this year. The drivers, the manufacturers and the team's championships, and that's what they're trying to achieve. There's some celebration for Vauxhall because they had a poor time of it last time out at Donington. They really struggled to get anything of benefit out of Donington, but it's a race victory for them here at Snetterton, a track that they've had a huge amount of success at and in the past.
Yes, it's been a very good track for them, and as we said earlier, it's a track where they needed to score. They've got a strong engine and it's a fast track and they needed to get good points, but so far they're not pulling as many as they would like on Plato. But here's your result.
Result of the second race then. Giovanardi the winner from Matt Neal and Jason Plato. Darren Turner 4th, Matt Jackson 5th ahead of Tom Onslow Cole. Best result of this season for Owen Murray. Well done to him for Quest Racing in 7th. Tom Chilton in 8th ahead of Colin Turkington and Matt Allison. Well, a dramatic second race of the day. We'll have all the reaction right after the break here on Setanta Sports. Welcome back to Snetterton, and Fabrizio Giovanardi's taken the victory in the second race of the day. The Italian certainly drove a beautiful race that time. Having started back on the 3rd row of the grid, he's come through to take the win. Well, that was the celebration just a few moments ago. This is how it changes the drivers' standings. Plato still had a very, very good result there. So the gap now 16 points between Plato and Giovanardi, but Plato did enough really to not let that gap grow too much. Shedden has dropped back behind Matt Neal, but he was the unlucky man, of course, Shedden, because he had the gearbox problem. OK, let's go down to the pits and get some reaction.
Thank you, Ben. And I'm down here with Fabrizio, taking a win number 6. You've closed the gap on Jason to 16 points. How was it?
Looks like to restart the season. I was in the same position in the beginning after Brent, so I have to stay in front of Jason anytime, every time, because he's pushing hard, they still finished 3rd, so not easy to make big gap. Anyway, I will make the maximum to stay front, and we'll see.
You think the car's good enough to do it again in the next race?
Yeah, depends, of course, from the ballast. I was without ballast, my car without ballast was really fast. I think could be interest race, because if I watch the first one, I compared all the car with ballast like me, I was pretty fast than them, so could be interest race.
It's always interesting. Thank you, Fabrizio. Well, he's got ballast on the way. Who knows how he's going to go in the next one, but here's a man who's, well, the entire team has had a totally up and down topsy-turvy weekend. You've either been highs or lows, and you've got a high this time.
Yeah, flashed through the wrong dice on this race, but the lads did a cracking job getting mine back together and all straight, and 18th to 2nd on Over the Moon with just for the boys, you know, and all the effort. It's a desperate shame for Flash, just had a little linkage problem. So otherwise I think we could probably had 2 Halfords cars, Team Halfords cars on the grid, on the podium even.
Now that's a very strong showing, pulling in that many places in one race. You've got a massive leap to take a 3rd championship. Feeling confident?
No. No, I'm just...
You're meant to say yes there.
I'm just going to take every race as it, which is what we do all the time. We're going to take every race as it comes. Just stick in there, try and score as many points, and see what luck and fortune brings us.
Thank you very much, Matt. See you in the next one. Now, these two were very close together on track on a few occasions today. Jason Plato, another topsy-turvy race for you, but you must be very happy to be on the podium after that.
Yeah, I mean, to come from, I think it was 9th, to come through to the 3rd was perhaps about the best we could have hoped for, to be honest. So, yeah, you know, Fabrizio drove a great race and won well, you know, so to come 3rd and to get the points is what we need.
Now, Fabrizio's already saying that for the next one, ballast is going to be a bit of an issue for him. He's sitting on the fence as to how quick his car's going to be. You're going to have less ballast. What are your predictions for your car?
Well, again, a lot will depend on what you know, what numbers drawn on the grid, but the ballast definitely hurts around here. You know, Snetterton's a circuit with long straights, and it'll hurt him. Or, you know, if I was in Fabrizio's place, we'd struggle with 45 on. We've obviously got a little bit less, which is great for us. Not so good for Fabrizio, but I think it'll be a close race, this one. I really do.
You must have been very happy to have stayed out of the carnage that was on track as well.
Well, yeah, there was a bit going on, wasn't there? But you know, it's getting to that point in the year, isn't it? It always seems to start round about here.
Good excitement. Thank you very much, Jason. Right then, over to a break now. Join us afterwards for a whole heap more racing.